How many members do we have total?
About
5.
525 or so.
And also we had about 72 people who registered. And we have 47. So I think we need about 50 people.
No, we need 30, right? If we have 600 members,
No, we have,
We have about 5 1/4, give or take.
okay, so we need 5% of that, right? Or is it 10%?
10.
Just
10.
10, okay. So we need what, 57 or something?
53 maybe.
Okay. Is the secretary here, Abigail?
she's probably muted.
I am. I'm slow to unmute.
Okay, Abby, keep a number on that. Keep a track on how many people are here because we won't need a quorum for a little while yet.
I'll do my best, but I think Art or whoever's the
Art, yeah,
host can
yeah,
see the
Art.
numbers better than I.
We should all be able to see the numbers. There's a participant list,
Yeah,
which increases as more people join.
yeah. Click participants. It's a button on the bottom of the picture there.
Got
Okay.
it. 49.
Okay, so let's begin. I'll call this to order.
So while you're
Welcome, everyone. Let's start with the introduction of new members. If there's anyone out there that's new and would like to introduce themselves and their sailing history or any other interesting fact about them.
Hi, I can start. Hi, everyone. It's good
Hi.
seeing some faces. I don't think I've met anybody in person. My name is Bettina. I became a member last December. My sailing history, I started sailing when I was in college, actually, yeah, it was one of those fun, affordable things that we were able to do. We would get a sailboat in Croatia and go sailing every weekend, every summer. One of the best holidays, vacations that I ever spent. Yes, and then coming to the States, I'm from Germany. So I'm from Munich, Bavaria. We don't have an ocean close by. There's not a lot of sailing. But coming to the States, I became very good friends with Hallie, and he introduced me to the Fairwind Yacht Club.
Oh, what's your name? What's your name?
Bettina.
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 I've seen your name related to Hallie in different things. So it's good to put a face to a name.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
So
Go ahead.
Hallie got me back into sailing, basically. And yeah, I think he is also the reason that I'm here. And then I wanted to brush up my sailing skills. I finished in January, I finished my ASA 101 course with blue water sailing, and currently still sailing with blue water, probably almost every weekend, charter a boat with my friend. And yeah, that's me.
Okay, great. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Who else out there?
Okay, I'll go. My name is Sandy Hudson.
Hi, Sandy. Oh,
Hi.
I just emailed you. I thought you, I had the gender wrong.
Yeah,
So
that happens.
you were able to register and get in?
Yeah. I found the email I received
Okay.
from Art last month, and was able to join the meeting. Yeah, thank you. And I work for California State Parks as a lifeguard with Miles Schuler, and Miles is who introduced me to the opportunity of learning to sail with this group. I did learn some sailing with a friend, Mike Howard, who is a professional. He sailed the Transpac and he's done some America's Cup work. And we bought a Cal 34 back in the late 90s, early 2000s. We had that here in Channel Islands. And so I got to spend a bit of time, just going out to the islands and down to Malibu and having fun, as this was a while ago. And but no real formal training. I've been boating, we've had Boston Whaler Montauk, and then our family bumped up to a 28-foot Conquest. So we've had that for a little while. So I'm real comfortable with the channel and, you know, boating, but sailing is just such a romantic and beautiful adventure. It's something I want to really learn formally from the ground up. So I'm excited for this opportunity, and I'm actually getting my captain's license. Hopefully, I have the sea time on my power boat. Taking the course through the Maritime Institute in a couple of weeks in Oxnard.
Okay.
So I'll be busy with that for a little while, studying for that exam. And I know that doesn't translate into sailing and reefing the sail and being safe on a sailboat. So
No, I came in with a Master 100 and it got me nowhere.
yeah, exactly. I get that 100%.
What harbor are you in?
Channel Islands.
Channel. And the lady before you, what harbor is she? Was she? Did she say? I think I missed it.
Marina Del Rey.
Marina Del Rey.
Sorry, yeah, thank you.
So yep, that's me. Thank you.
Okay, welcome, Sandy. Who else out there is new?
I guess I can go. My name's Adam. I'm pretty new to the club. And I guess, you know, my sailing history goes back to when I was a little kid. I used to race lasers at a lake near my house in England. But
Cool.
since that time, which was like a long time ago now, I haven't really had that much time on the water. But I started going to Turkey every year with my wife. She's from there, and when we would go over to Turkey, we'd spend a lot of time on the Aegean and around the Marmara Sea, and you know, spent a good amount of time on boats again in that beautiful part of the world. And the fact that, you know, now I'm living in Los Angeles and Santa Monica near Marina Del Rey, I think that the attraction to getting back on a sailboat was too much to resist anymore. So I signed up for the ASA 101 and 103 course, and my instructor was Fran Weber, and she mentioned the Fairwind Yacht Club, and so I just reached out and applied to be a member. And so far, I've had a couple of days out with Muriel, and it's been really great fun. I'm really happy to be back on the water and really happy to be learning about
Marina Sailing, where you met Fran?
Sorry, say again?
Was that Marina Sailing where you met Fran, your teacher?
No, I met her at Blue Pacific.
Blue Pacific. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of me, and I'm looking forward to, you know, meeting you guys in person at some point on Tuesday mornings, and you know, hopefully when the lockdown lifts, we can all get together more frequently.
Okay, great. Thank you. Adam, what's your last name?
It's Gong, G-O-N-G.
Thank you. Okay, who else is out there, if anyone?
Hey, I'm new as well. My name's Jordan, joined in late December as well.
What's your last name?
Hobman.
Okay.
Yeah, haven't.
You related to
anyone
Kelly
met-
Hobman?
Sorry?
You related to Kelly Hobman?
I don't think so.
Okay,
No.
go ahead. Sorry.
No worries. But yeah, I've been sailing for the last several years, kind of picked it up as a hobby when I was free one summer in college. And yeah, I've got my 101 and 103 certifications, and I've been lucky enough to go out a few times each year, but definitely excited to hopefully get out more.
Okay, and you said Marina Del Rey, is that right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, welcome, Jordan. Next. Anyone else? New or reasonably new? No. Okay. So welcome, all four of you, to Fairwind. We have to have one of these meetings every fiscal term, every fiscal quarter. It's usually the last possible moment, as it is today, the last day of the second fiscal quarter. Our fiscal quarter begins in October 1. We've been doing this for about a year now, or not quite, on Zoom, and formally we used to meet at various places. The next item is approval of the minutes from the membership meeting of December 8, 2020. those minutes were included in the notice of meeting email. And if you've read them, does anyone have any comments or reason not to approve them?
I have none, but you've got 57 participants now. according to-
57. Thank you, Richard. Okay.
Lennox?
Yes.
Art. So we can formalize the vote for this. I'll set up a vote for approval of the minutes of December the 8th, 2020.
Okay.
And so when you're ready to have the vote, when somebody calls the vote, then I'll set up and send it out.
Okay.
Call for the motion to approve.
There's been a motion to approve the minutes from the last membership meeting.
I second.
Who seconds that?
Art Toy.
Who made the motion?
Who made the motion?
Daniel Romy.
Daniel Romy. Thank you, Daniel.
So do we vote on it now?
Yeah, and there's no discussion, right? No revisions, right? Any discussion, revision? Okay, all those opposed? Anyone opposed?
Okay, do you want to do it that way then, Lennox? Rather than,
Well, I think it would be probably less people, right?
okay, let's just do it verbally.
No, do it your way, because you'll actually have, yeah, do it your way, Art. Like, let's click something,
I will click something.
because then you'll get a roster, right? You'll get a ledger or a manifest or something.
Maybe.
Theoretically.
Okay.
Okay, so if we're saying a question one where yes is for approval of the minutes, is that right, Art?
Correct. And John Rock and I cannot vote because we're hosting this.
Okay.
So if it's a tie, then I'll unlock John and myself.
Okay. I just clicked.
Okay. We've got 98% who voted. It says 1 abstained, 2. So it's been on for about, I'm going to give it another 3 seconds. I'm going to end the polling. Since we have a majority.
Okay.
Sharing results. So you guys can see the results. Abby, say yes.
Oh, yes, sorry, I can see it, 96% and 4% abstain.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. And this is a good go around so that, because we have a couple other motions to go through, and this will be kind of like the format that we're going to do it. Somebody will read the motion to Abby, and then Abby will reread the motion back to us, make sure we got the wording correct. And then we will set up a poll to vote for this in this manner. If we have amendments or to the motion, they will be handled in a similar manner. So I will interrupt people to try to facilitate this as much as possible. Back to you, Lennox.
Okay, thank you, Art. The next item, D, is the reports of the officers, starting with the Commodore. As far as Trans Harbor issues are concerned, there aren't too many. I think everything is running reasonably well. I think I'll let Scott speak to this, but for Channel Islands, but I think our status under the COVID pandemic is still pretty much unchanged since the beginning of February. Our newsletter editor, Muriel Hamilton, has stepped away from her role after 28 superb issues. And another woman, Patricia Nazario, has stepped into that role. And she will begin with the April newsletter in a week or so. She and I are going through some iterations, mock-ups of the next newsletter, and she's been working closely with Muriel so that the transition should be comparatively seamless, I think. I think that's all I have for Trans Harbor. I'll probably have a few more things to say as port captain, but we could proceed to the treasurer, Uda. Uta Busher.
Okay, it's the last day of March. However, I don't have any of the details as to what has been spent by Rear Commodores. I can report how much money we have in the bank. And I've already sent this to the board so that you don't have to take notes. Channel Islands operating account has 71,000. Channel Islands Floating Fund has 138,000. Marina Del Rey operating account has 88,000. And Marina Del Rey Floating Fund has 66,000. So we have money, we're fine. So far, so good.
Very good. Do you want to talk anything about the granulation of harbor financial reporting?
Question, please.
Yes, Mark?
Questions. Raise my hand. What happens to money when we don't spend it? Like in the boating funds? They just sit and build there until we have $1 million?
Yeah, potentially.
Okay.
The floating fund has to sit there. The operating fund could sit there. Usually it gets spent, and some of the operating fund could transfer over to the floating fund, but not conversely.
And do we earn interest on the floating fund?
I don't think
Yes.
so. But we do?
Well, it's minimal in the bank account, so it is minimal.
Oh, like a
interest.
check, like a savings book account?
Right.
What is that today? Like a 0.5%? What is that?
Probably. I don't have that memorized, but it's very minimal.
When I was growing up, it was like 6 or 7%.
It's more like 0.1%.
Okay, anything else, Huda, you want to report?
As you say, as of October 1st, I'm tracking every income and expense item by harbor. I have not issued monthly statements because they're really not very informative. I plan to do it about every 3 months because we issue dues bills and the dues payments come in every 3 months. So I believe the last one that I provided was January 31st. I believe it's on the website, to be honest. I haven't checked it, but anyone has any questions, I can certainly also answer questions. But that my plan is to do them probably quarterly because it'll be more meaningful, especially, for instance, the dues are due April 1st. So doing a statement on March 31st is not very meaningful because some of the dues, some of them haven't. So doing a statement as of April 30th is more meaningful because most dues will have come in and we have more expense detail. So that is my plan for the future.
Like after like the late period of dues, I think is what you're saying, right?
After what?
After the late dues come in is when you plan to run a report.
Well, no, to the 1st of April, then most dues would be paid by April 30th. So
Right.
there might be some people that haven't paid by then, but hopefully not too many. And so it would be more meaningful. So
Okay.
I do not plan statements as of March 31st, only because it's not that meaningful at this point. And going forward, yes, I will have statements that are all items are categorized by whether they are Channel Islands or Marina Del Rey. And there's some things that are for both harbors so that the expenses are split evenly between the two.
Okay, very good. This granulation of harbor expense and revenue is something we've wanted for quite a while. And it's really gratifying that Uta put this together so quickly. You know, before we go on to the secretary, if Patricia is out there, Patricia Nazario, would you like to say hello to everyone and introduce yourself as the newsletter editor? Is she here? Patricia, are you out there and unmuted?
Oh,
Yes.
unmute.
She's here.
Okay. Are you here? Say hello and
Hi.
anything you want to say about anything regarding the newsletter.
Hi, I'm Patricia Nazario, and I'm very happy to step into Marielle's big shoes. She's been helping me understand how the program works, and Lennox and I have been trying to just get it in a space where it's up to date and it's the formatting is nice and clean, and we're just trying to make it look, give it some of the club's personality. So I'm excited for the opportunity, and I want to start maybe a new feature, like a Fairwind feature kind of a section. Seems like a lot of us like taking pictures, and it'll be maybe a fun way for us to engage and appreciate one another's photography and fun times in the club. So Lennox and I are still working on this part, but we set up a photo inbox. So I think it's, we'll send it out in the newsletter, but it's something like photo@fairwind.org. And we're just inviting everybody to, share your images. And it has to be images that are generated by oneself because there are legal issues otherwise. But it could be a fun way where we just feature a photo month by month, and the person who took the photo can have a little blurb about it. And we're also looking for a new photo each month for the header. So if you have a really cool sunset or a race or whatever it is, feel free to send those to that new photo inbox. All right. Thank you so much, Lennox, for the opportunity.
You're welcome. And we thank Muriel also for making this transition so smooth. You also probably should dovetail with Mark Levine, who's kind of, I appointed him as kind of like as a club historian, and he's working with the web team on some sort of location on the website. Where are you at Santa Monica Yacht Club?
Yes, we're going to Catalina in the morning.
Okay, where he's, I think his charge is not so much just photographs, but like historical, not so much current stuff, but maybe, well, current stuff, but also like historical documents and historical photos from Fairwind's past. So I could see you both overlapping there a little bit.
Definitely. And if anybody has access to any of that stuff, feel free to send it to that new inbox we set up, photos@fairwind.org. I'm guessing at the email, we can have it for sure when we send out this April newsletter, but that's just off the top of my head. The idea is there's a home space for images, for historical things, a place where people can deposit those. And then we have the Google Drive for storage. So don't be shy.
Yeah. Yeah, and the web team is also, I should mention them, they've been very helpful in setting this up, and they're kind of in the middle of a lot of things, the web team. Okay, the secretary's report.
Thank you.
Abigail, you're welcome. Thank you.
Have
a nice trip.
So it looks like our minutes were approved for December 5th, 2020.
December 8th.
December 8th, 2020, and about 55 of us voted to approve them. And there's no new business. Just taking notes.
Okay. Any other issues regarding the secretary's position?
No.
Okay, thank you. So now we'll move to the reports of the port cap, the officers of Beach Harbor. Scott, why don't you go ahead and introduce your team in whatever order you want the report to Channel Islands to be made.
Delighted to do so. How's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
The Channel Islands Harbor Port Committee is comprised of, in alphabetical order, Oded Barlev, Abby Convery, Alan McGovern, John Mudgett, myself. And basically, I'd like to go ahead and thank a couple people just to begin with. I wanted to thank Muriel for her service and her newsletter. She sure brought up the quality of the newsletter. We stand on each one's shoulders, but she did a great job. And want to thank the new newsletter person, and also thanks to Uda. Uda and I have talked quite a bit about breaking out the expenses with Channel Islands Harbor, and real happy with that effort. So thanks a lot. That takes a bunch of time. Thanks a lot, Uda. The major thing that we're working right now as a port committee is evaluating our fleet, and we're in an effort right now to look at upgrading the fleet. And so look forward to getting a questionnaire soon as far as what people would like to see as far as the boats. And I definitely would like to get some input from members, both at Marina Del Rey, but particularly CIH, on what boats they would like to see and so on, including thoughts on our current fleet. I then would go ahead and that's basically an overview. I'll go ahead and hand this off to Oded, and then John, and then Alan to give their reports. So I'll ask Oded to give his report on, and he's a membership chair for Channel Islands Harbor. Oded?
Hey, thanks, Scott. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Membership is doing well at Channel Islands Harbor right now. We are full at capacity at large with 54 members. We are full at mediums with 72 members. We have 120 members between NCOs and smalls, 24 NCOs and 96 smalls. And we are going to bring on 3 new members over the next few weeks that are in the queue. So altogether with LOAs and minor membership, we are at 275 members. That's it.
Thanks, Oded. Next, we'll go ahead and we'll ask John Mudgett, who is our fleet captain, CIH fleet captain. John?
Thanks, Scott. Good evening, everybody. I have 4 updates I'll share with you tonight. A little bit of training update for Q1. Then I'll talk about a little bit of a supplemental kind of cruise checkout we're working in Channel Islands. Talk about the cross-harbor collaboration with my main man, Artoy, and then just a little bit on volunteering. The first piece, in terms of the Q1 update, we have incredible amounts of new trainers signed up since this new harbor committee took order October 1st. We have 7 people willing to train, and 3 of them have performed more than 1 training since that time, which is incredible. And that's including people from both harbors. I'm really pleased that we've been able to train some folks from MDR, and Alex Van Name is going to be out with me here very shortly to do a harbor orientation. I'm pretty excited. But the one thing you should know is we're evaluating how active trainers are. It's one thing to have an updated spreadsheet on a website, and a very different thing to have people who are actually doing the work. And so we're continuing to monitor that, find solutions for why there's some members getting called all the time and why some aren't, and just providing a wealth of opportunity for people who are looking to go ahead and train and volunteer for the club. We've added 2 new 104 candidates in Q1. Kurt Steppe in Channel Islands and also Brian Wheeler are now trained and certified to be a cruise, which is awesome. And then we also added a 203 and a 204 instructor in Channel Islands. Pretty happy. We have 0 challenges, 0 backlogs, and our membership is thriving with training. So I just wanted to say thank you to all of the trainers and instructors in Channel Island that dedicate their time, their hours, and their effort to deliver exceptional training to our members. It really is extraordinary. I've been humbled to be around some incredibly great people that I continue to learn from every day. But on balance, however, I do want to say that for our trainees who are coming out to meet your instructor or your trainer, it's really, really just kind of a courtesy to be on time. Make sure the boat's set up by the time your trainer or instructor gets there, and just do your very best to not show up 15, 20 minutes late. This hasn't happened to me personally, but I've heard it on more than a half a dozen occasions. If you have an 11 o'clock time, trainees are showing up at half an hour late or so. And I'm not going to say that people could leave and not train you, because we haven't done that yet, but certainly do your best. If you're meeting an instructor, and I think this goes for either harbor, just be on time, be courteous, and get that boat set up so when the instructor or trainer get on the boat, you're ready and receptive to learn. And I think that's a critical component for us moving forward. And so I just wanted to share that. Second thing I wanted to update on is a supplemental cruise checkout in Channel Islands. This is in the development stage. Nothing has been finalized, but with a lot of great input from Scott Kelly and some execution from Daniel Romy, we're going to put together a supplemental cruise certification kind of checkout that kind of looks at the uniqueness of Channel Islands Harbor and those islands and some of the specific skills that we want our members to make sure that they can do when they're out cruising the islands. Very different experience out there. And so stay tuned. Probably Q2 we'll have some more information there. Cross harbor collaboration, the third topic. You know, Art Toy continues to mentor me and work with me. And I think what you've seen, I hope anyway, what you have seen is you see the best of two harbors. There is so much skill and experience in MDR and CIH. Why do we want to separate that out? Rather, let's uniquely bring those and fuse those together. And I think what you find is great alignment. Art and I keep each other in the loop on pretty much everything we're doing. And when I introduce something to CIH and vice versa, it has the collective thinking of two harbors. And I think that just benefits all of you, all of our members, to be better sailors, safer sailors, and just get that unique experience. So I'm pretty happy. And Art, I wanted to thank you personally in front of the membership here for your help and guidance. I know I still have a lot to learn as Mike Delaney yesterday took a ride out to Ventura Harbor to help me get the boat started. Daniel Romy and I were out and we couldn't start it. Mike came out and I just humbled myself to learn from him. And I think that's what we all need to do as sailors. None of us know everything. And there's just a great opportunity with the experience of all your faces that I see on the screen to learn from you all. So thank you for that. And then the final thing is volunteering. When we all signed up to join this club, we signed a form, a membership application form, and we put down something we felt we could add to the club. I don't know that we need 100 new sailors in the club, but I could tell you, I think we kind of need 100 new volunteers to step up and do something. From my lens, that's people that want to train or go to 201. We added a brand new 201 instructor with Lee out here in Channel Islands just a couple days ago. He went up to Sausalito, California on his own dime because he was so passionate about doing this. And so we need your help. And if it's not training that's in your wheelhouse, you know, maybe Patty Nazario needs help with the newsletter. Maybe Alan McGovern or Steve Fencer need help working on boats, whatever it is. I encourage you all to step up because it can tell you, as you're getting checked out on boats and using our boats and our assets all the time, there is a lot of effort, more than I think I ever imagined, that goes into keeping the fleet running. So I implore upon you to step up, reach out to your harbor committee people, and just volunteer what you can. 2 hours a month, 2 hours a quarter, who cares? And then finally, I want to say thank you to Scott, Abigail, Alan, and Oded for working together on the many things in Channel Islands. I kind of feel this is a really great team with great synergy, and we roll up the sleeves, man. We give it to each other good, and we come out much better for that collaboration. So I want to say thank you to all my counterparts here in Channel Islands. Scott, that's it for me, and thanks for the opportunity to update the team.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. While we're on the same subject of volunteering and all that, I sent out an email last Friday looking for a techie with drone and video capabilities. And I was really surprised how quickly I got answered back that night, Friday night, even one coming in like at 2 a.m. on Saturday morning. I think I had altogether 10 or 11 people who volunteered to join me to do some videotaping. And one of our volunteers actually met me down at the docks at 6 a.m. on Sunday to do some drone footage. That is beyond, and you know, that's above and beyond. So I want to thank, we do have some very good volunteers, and he did say that he was looking for opportunities now that our open houses are not, you know, not as frequent, not as well attended, obviously because of COVID. He was looking for opportunities to help out, and he certainly did. Another thing I would say is that anyone that needs to take an ASA 105, the coastal navigation course or test, I've been doing them in my office over this whole COVID time for the last year and a half, whatever. And if you need to take a 105, whether you're a Marina Del Rey member or a CIH member, give me a call. Let me know what works for you, and we'll set it up, and we'll go ahead and administer that test. And now Alan McGovern, our fleet captain. I mean, our rear commodore.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Scott. I'll be pretty brief. I think at the last membership meeting, we had 2 boats out of service. One, a Catalina 22, whose mast had corroded pretty badly, and the other, our Catalina 400 Angel Sea, whose engine had blown a head gasket. And they were basically waiting for their parts to come in and to get put together again. Well, we were able to find a mast for the Catalina 22, and that's all being assembled, and it's back in the water again. And Angel Sea has, thanks to hard work by Dennis Sturley, has had its engine reassembled, and it seems to be purring along nicely. So of course, there are all the time, there are little things that need attention. Wires come unglued from places, and that happened today on Angel Sea, and was alluded to by John that Mike Delaney came out and helped fix that. But at the moment, all our boats at Channel Islands Harbor are operational. And as part of the effort that Scott mentioned, in order to establish what we need to do with our fleet for the future, I am gathering information on the state of the health of all the boats, and categorizing how they are in terms of their hulls, their sails, their rigging, et cetera, and trying to gather all that into one big matrix. At the same time, I've been looking at what the historical out of service hours are on different boats, as well as the maintenance costs on different boats. So we can use some of that information to help us determine well, which boats we ought to really hold on to and work with, and which boats we might want to think about changing out for newer and better. Financially, I have basically a maintenance budget each month of about $5,000. We've been staying under that, but barely, and I hope we continue to do so. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. I think the only thing else that I would say is that right now we're probably averaging as a port committee meetings about every 2 weeks on the average, where we discuss all these different issues. So any of the members that have questions or comments or anything regarding the harbor or what we're doing, by all means, reach out to any one of us. You don't have to, necessarily do it to one person. We are open for suggestions and comments. Please let us know, and we'll discuss it in our meeting. I prefer a phone call. Give me a phone call at the office or at my home. I very much appreciate it, and we can discuss it, and I'll bring it up to the port committee as well. So thanks very much for allowing us to serve you, and I'll turn it back over to Lennox.
All right, thank you, Scott. Thank you, Channel Islands. So I heard 3 people stand out in your report. One is Alex Van Name. Is he a Channel Islands member?
No, Marina Del Rey.
Okay, is Alex out there? I'd like to see what he looks like.
All right, so here is what I look like when I'm driving my car.
Okay, there you are finally. I got you confused with somebody else. So this will help me understand who you are. Thanks for everything you've been doing. Art has been talking about you a lot, and now Scott and Kelly also said, "Holy shit, I got to meet this guy." Okay,
no, I've met Alex. Alex came into my office and did his 105 a while back ago. It was great meeting you, Alex. Okay. And he passed, of course.
And then Daniel Romy was the next guy. I forget exactly the context that John was talking about Daniel Romy, but Daniel, if you're out there and you want to say hello, just so members know who you are.
Yeah, good afternoon or evening, I suppose. Yeah, this is Daniel Rome.
Sorry, we lost you.
I'm one of the instructors out in Channel Islands. My unstable? Okay.
Yeah, you're unstable. Okay.
I guess I'm unstable.
The Rominator.
Okay, and then were you finished, Daniel? Did you say anything? Want to say?
No, let me just finish. I primarily train in the large boats, and I'm working very diligently with John to put together a program to assist the Marina Del Rey members, as well as the Santa Barbara people in checking out for cruising. So that's why he mentioned me.
Okay, that's right.
I have a story about Daniel as well. When I joined Fairwind in 2012 at a general meeting down here in the marina, Dan didn't know me from anybody else, and he just walked up to me and said, "You want to go out on Calypso? I show you how to dock and all this other stuff." And first time met Dan, he took me out on Calypso. We're practicing springing off the bow and springing off the back and motoring around, and took me out, and and got me started on the medium-sized boats. So, here's to you, Dan.
You're entirely welcome.
There was a third person someone mentioned up there too, but I didn't write it down.
I mentioned Dennis Durley.
Dennis Durley, that's right. Thank you. Is Dennis out there? He's always in these Rear Commodore reports. Like he must fix a lot of things.
Yeah, I'm here.
There he is. Okay, say hello, Dennis. Dennis, say hello.
Yes.
You're one of the assistant Rear Commodores, right? The ARC, one of the ARCs.
Yeah, I'm designated also as the assistant for the big boats.
Okay, good. Good. This helps me also. Like I for some people, this is the first time I've actually seen them. So I think if it helps me, I think it would probably help other members.
Dennis is also the BC for Wojo.
Yeah.
And there's the other hats that he wears.
And then every once in a while I work on other boats.
Yeah.
The rest of them.
Thank you, Dennis. We appreciate it.
No problem.
Okay, so now we'll shift to Marina Del Rey. I'll start. Port captain. There's a lot. I made a presentation on March 11, Thursday, March 11, to the Small Craft Harbor Commission, I think it was. I'm not really sure how they integrate into the Department of Beaches and Harbors and the LA County Supervisors, but it was one of those nights where people that didn't have much really to say about, how do I put this? That wasn't necessarily pithy, had a lot of time to talk, COVID people, things like that. And then we ran around to representatives of each harbor in Marina Del Rey, like Blue Pacific, Blue Water, me, Fairwind. And we only had about 200 seconds to like get a lot of information out. So I had prepared quite a bit of material for that. And I only got about 1/2 to 2/3 of the way through it. So it was a little frustrating, but I think the parts that were heard and were displayed on the Zoom were helpful. So I think Fairwind was pretty well represented there, at least in Marina Del Rey. It was a Marina Del Rey function, and it's sort of it's dovetailing into our efforts to have our $36,000 in annual subsidies that have been set up by developers transferred into an outright waiver by LA County specifically itself. So our $36,000 annual subsidy expired about 10 days ago. And these efforts will be for whatever happens next in Marina Del Rey. Let's see, the newsletter person I've mentioned. I think that's all I had to say mostly about Marina Del Rey, other than what I already said, that we're still under, yeah, let me talk about this for a second. A lot of members email me or text me or call me and say, why don't you do this or do that about COVID, or you should be doing this or that. And although it is true that we have some latitude in what we do, we are pretty much strictured by what Beaches and Harbors somewhere between asks us to do and wants us to do. It's very fuzzy sometimes. So right now, we are still operating in Marina Del Rey under a directive from the Department of Beaches and Harbors as directed by the Department of Public Health to operate as a charter company, because that's the closest thing they can figure out that we are like. And there's like a 10-page directive or 12-page directive. And on page 4 of this directive, I probably should have had it up there, but there are 3 checkboxes under section B which say charter companies or Fairwind can have an operator of the boat, which is the skipper, and then a first mate, an assistant, which will be the first mate, and then the clients all have to be of a single family, like under one roof, like not a pod, not a closed circuit of friends, but under one roof. So skipper, first mate, and clients is 3 mixed households. So that's what we've been operating under in Marina del Rey since 1 February. And then the absolute total number of people that can be on board is determined by boat size to maintain a full fathom of social distancing. So that runs from 2 on small boats, 3 on 2 and 3 on small boats, 4 on mediums, 4 on larges, 5 on our larges, and 6 on our largest large boats. And all of this is very specifically written out. If you go to fairwind.org, and then at the bottom of the facade page, click on COVID rules MDR, and all of the list of the rules that are derived from the Department of Beaches and Harbors directive are listed there. I think there are about 14 of them or so. Okay, so that's where we are still. We have
And
not.
Lennox, I'll interrupt you just for a moment, just to make a real quick plug, is that is on that same website that Lennox is describing.
Yes.
There's Channel Islands Harbor directives as well. They're not the same as the Marina del Rey. Please go ahead and take a look at that. We do have it on a PDF for you to pull if you want. And if you've got any questions about it, by all means, give me a call or an email. Thanks.
Yeah.
Sorry, Lennox.
Yeah, I was going to get to that later in G and H, but that's good. That's good. It's good that they know that it's out there. It's different in format. Like the Marina del Rey is very delineated, and Channel Islands is more, how would you say, interpretive maybe?
That'll work.
Okay. We have not been told that we can change our status, and I think the concern by Beaches and Harbors there is that we're heading into spring break and Easter, if it's not already happening. So I think there's some concern that there could be another spike here in LA County. Okay, that's enough from me. I'll move then to, unless anyone has any questions.
I have a question.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Daniel. You'd mentioned that you're working with Beaches and Harbors on this $6,000 that they're giving us. If they don't give it to us, what plans are you making plans to, in the event they don't give it to us? And are we still receiving the money even though they're thinking about it?
Yeah, it's 36,000, not 6. And I just spoke to Uda yesterday to see if we've been billed for April, and so far not. So I'm curious to what will happen. There are 2 things we could do. One thing was an idea that the former very capable treasurer Adrian O'Donnell had, which was to propose changing the contributions from the floating fund and operating from its current 80-20% to 90-10%, 90% into operating, 10% into floating. That's one idea. The other idea would be obviously to raise dues. There's probably also.
I only brought it up because I think this should be reviewed and examined for other options.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So those are the two dominant ones. And there's probably also some cushioning also in the current revenue that I'm not really, I haven't really looked at to see how much excess we already have in terms of what we need to operate. So maybe Uda has an idea about that.
So the second part of my question is, are we being billed at the same rate for the slips?
Yeah, we don't know yet.
Thank you.
And I thought I thought we would have that bill by now, but we don't. But this this interaction with beaches and harbors is almost every day or every other day now. With if it is successful, like last year at this time, I thought there was a 1 in 10 chance of this happening. But now it seems, you know, like it might actually happen. Although I will have to provide someone, probably me and some other people, will have to provide more information about how many members of the public or of Boys and Girls Club or veterans from the Veteran Affairs Volunteer Services at the VA, how many sheer numbers of people benefit from this potential waiver that would probably be in the vicinity of $35,000 still. So there may be more paperwork, long story short.
Lennox?
Okay.
And Daniel, just so you know, this has been worked on and consistently been worked on for over a year.
Oh yeah, God. And there are multi-prongs, like there's me working at the front office, there's Fenster walking the docks, and there's another couple of people. Richard Windebank is in the mix, as he always is, and there's another person or so that in the background there that's helping us. And
yeah,
so it's been ongoing.
Yeah, Lennox.
Hi, Ron.
I have 2 comments to add. Okay, if you listen to Eric Garcetti's news conference late this afternoon, was about 5:30. He indicated certain landmarks that were reached in Los Angeles. One was that if you take into account the number of people that have reached at least 1 vaccination shot and had experienced the illness, we have reached 50% immunity in Los Angeles, a milestone. The second thing is the March 8th, new guidelines by the FDA. If you are considered fully vaccinated, meaning you have had your 2 shots, and 2 weeks past that time, there are certain liberties that you can take that are specifically provided for. So I have a feeling that Beaches and Harbor is going to be getting pressure because of those things now that are going on. And Garcetti said things are opening up. He talked about restaurants, bowling alleys, theaters, a lot of things happening. I think we should pressure Beaches and Harbors, pointing out what these authorities are pointing to, that being driven by science, and saying, we'd like to open up our open houses. And then that will be another, quiver in our arsenal to justify that $36,000.
Yeah. Well, you're right. I do think Beaches and Harbors will be subject to that kind of pressure. We don't want to be annoying, but at the same time, you're right. We do want to present it in a way that would be favorable to opening up our community service sooner rather than later, as safely as possible, as safely as is reasonably possible.
Sure. For instance, if we can say people that can document that they are fully vaccinated are welcome to open houses. They come down with their vaccination card, for instance.
For instance, yeah.
Something
and
like that.
As of tomorrow, we go from red to orange, and of course, everybody's heard the bars are open, the theaters are at a higher density level, everything. So we're moving in that direction. So that could happen soon, but we definitely don't want to pressure the Beaches and Harbor.
No, I mean, it has to be done tactfully, but I think.
Tactfully, right. It has to be done tactfully. It's a tightrope. It's tactful.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd like to know if we've discussed the rule of having people be vaccinated before they're allowed to skipper the boats.
We have discussed it in Marina del Rey and have not come to any conclusive policy. I don't know if Channel Islands has discussed this. And we've not discussed it at the board level.
So
Okay,
does
I'd like to move now to the fleet captain, Arthur Toy.
Hi.
Hi, Art. Are you back from Hawaii?
I am back from Hawaii.
Did you go to that restaurant that rotates 20 in an hour in Honolulu?
No.
No.
Actually, it was really interesting. Honolulu was actually, when we got there, was just also in the process of opening up, and they were actually, they're still way more shut down than we are right now. So,
But you didn't have to quarantine. You had something to show them, right?
yeah, to get to Hawaii, very simply, is you need to get a COVID test 72 hours before getting on the airplane. And then once you get the test, you go onto the Hawaiian website, and they give you a QR code that must be displayed when you get on the plane and when you get off the plane, and then you're free. Just wear a mask. So.
Yeah. Yeah, just one more thing before you go, Art. Getting back to Ron, we've talked about this quite a bit, and there were various ideas about whether to do this or not, and if we do enforce vaccination, we could the most draconian example would be to turn off everyone's skip ring privileges unless they produce some sort of evidence of vaccination. That's one thing at the far conservative end. So it just, I'm not saying we're going to do that, but it's something we discuss.
If the airlines can't do it, we can't do it either, because it's just, we don't have the administration to do a lot of what we're talking about.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
We're all volunteers. We don't
Lennox, I think this is something that the board should be discussing. I think we ought to move along.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We have an agenda. We have an agenda, and this isn't on the agenda list. Let's power through this, or we're going to be on this till midnight.
Yep. Thank you.
Anyways, Marina Del Rey training has been going along tremendously. I see Alex Van Names come up. He's trying to text me or something. Anyways, I really have to thank Alex and all the other trainers and instructors for all the tremendous work that they've done since we started opening up about 2 months ago. I've been too lax in actually applying my standards to the trainers, and I have to go out with gently with you guys training, make sure that we're all on the same page and we're covering the basics and stuff. One of the things that I've been doing, and I think that we have to do more of, is video. A lot of the techniques and a lot of the programs that we've had in the past. Sorry, I got this clock making a noise. Anyways, in the past, Dick Gross has written tremendous articles that we're still using after 7, 8 years. Some of us has updated some of the information on that. I think we can supplement a lot of the training by doing videos. I've supplied a number of videos ever since I joined the club. My newest video that the web team put on, the training section, is a half-an-hour training video on how to get on Schedule Master and how to use our website. We have issues right now of launching our Capri 22s because we have such a narrow space. And should we launch under power? Should we launch under sail? And what are the different techniques? Well, we can do this. We can videotape a lot of this training. A lot of the training, like in individual boats, on how to, drain the aqualift. We can videotape all of this. I got Willie to do a launching video, which was about an hour long, about 1.5 years ago, on how to do standing turns in our channel. So anyways, I don't want to beat that up too much. We're going to work on that, and I'm going to need the help of the web team to post all of this stuff on our website, on our webpage. And for that matter, our webpage, it's really divided into 2 parts. There's a public part for the public to look at, and then there's a members section where we look for information, we look for trainers, we look for our standing rules and training videos and stuff like that. That's really hard to navigate right now. If you're looking for a specific bit of information, it's hard to find. And I actually was talking to the web team about changing some of the formatting on that. And they suggested that I check with the board to make sure that we're all on the same page of changing our web page for members. So that's going to be another thing that I can be bringing up in the future board meeting. With respect to ASA written tests, some of our members down in Marina Del Rey are also mentoring, or not mentoring, but proctoring the ASA 105 test. So thanks, Scott. And if you want to go to Scott and have him proctor your test, that's great. Thank you very much, Scott. But we also have Yuri down here in Utah who's willing to mentor or proctor the ASA 105. For other tests, such as the written for the 101, 103, and even the 104, if you want to write that test, just give me a phone call. You'll probably have to show up about 7:15 at my house, and I'll give you a space and you can write it. So 24/7, or actually 7 days a week. Anytime you want to write, let me know, and you're welcome to come down. And there's probably other stuff I can talk about, but that's all I can think of right now. So back to you, Lennox, unless somebody has a question.
Okay, thank you, Art. Let's move to Bruce Gale, our membership secretary, Marina Del Rey.
Actually, sorry, I wasn't fast, was the mute button. But Art, any word on the ASA 104 practical? What is the outlook there, if there is one?
We had a practical earlier, well, actually one last year with Ron Sasiela, and nobody has offered to step up to volunteer to do a 104 in Marina Del Rey at this time. So at this time, no.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Bruce, are you out there?
Yeah. So our membership's moving along, which is nice. Our NCOs are stuck at 70 though. We seem to always be right around that number. So smalls, we've got 66 people, mediums 40, large 84. And so we've been having a bunch, not a bunch, but more than usual, moving up from small to medium, medium to large. So we have a total of 260 members, not including LOAs. The trainers have been awesome. They've been working really, really hard to help out. And we're ready to invite in a few, maybe 3 or 4 members here sometime in the next 3 weeks.
Is there anyone specific other than Alex Van Name?
As far as trainers?
Yeah, the people that have been really stepping up.
Yeah, I mean, if you just check Schedule Master, you can see, even some of our old timers like Willie, Manetto, and so on. They've been really good. Yeah.
Is Willie here? Willie, you out there? I don't think I see him. Okay. Okay. And then Rear Commodore Stephen Fenster, he's visiting his grandchildren somewhere. Does anyone know where he is? Is he in Santa Cruz or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he told me that Calypso, all that I know from him is everything is okay, and Calypso is back in the water from the boatyard.
No.
Do any of the boat chiefs know anything else that they want to report in the absence of the Rear Commodore?
Actually, Calypso will be brought back from the haul out tomorrow morning. The rudder has been completed, the repair has been completed, so she will be back in service tomorrow.
Okay. So it actually was jammed or damaged somehow.
Yes, apparently the rudder post was bent somehow and the repair has been completed. I don't know all the gory details. I think he shaved off a ½ an inch off the rudder. So there's a lot of clearance, so it shouldn't jam again.
Okay, any other boat chief have anything they want to say in Steve's absence?
Osprey is doing well.
Good.
Osprey is on her way to Catalina right now, and for the next 3 rounds will be on cruise.
Okay, very good, Susan. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else, boat chiefs? Assistant boat chiefs? Okay.
Lennox.
Yep. Uh-oh.
AS is looking forward to a new paint job next month and to new cover and new sales in the future. Been training a few people and welcome more people to come and join us on training on the new soling.
Yes.
Old soling.
Are you going to restore that canary yellow color, or are you going for something? I like that color that it had, like when I first saw it in 2014. Or are you going for something darker?
Steve Fenster is going out of his way to get some anti-collision yellow.
Oh.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Robert.
I didn't have a say in it. I asked him for a yellow canvas, and he said beggars cannot be choosers, and it's going to be blue, but it's going to be better than what I have now.
Okay.
We have.
This brings us up to item F, which is an executive board motion, main motion to amend standing rules section 8, discipline matrix. Is it possible to bring that up on the
Yes,
screen?
possible. Hold on.
Simply stated, the motion is to strike out the current discipline matrix, that one, in section 8, and replace it with this one. And the reason is, the rationale behind this is because under the current matrix, which was formed, I think in about early 2016, when there were authority and powers being transferred down from the board level to the harbor committee or port committee level. This matrix oftentimes, or sometimes / oftentimes, leads to a rapid escalation of a disciplinary cascade toward class 3 and class 4 citations. So if a member has like something in their record, and then if they have like a bad day, like they undock and hit a couple of boats and don't file a float plan and don't empty the holding tank, they could very well face termination. So anyway,
Good idea.
yeah, some people think, well, that should happen. Okay. So when I came into the club in 2010, Art, could you go all the way down?
How far? Bottom?
That matrix right there. This was the discipline matrix when I came into the club, and it was like at least 2010 or before 2010 until about December 2015 or early 2016. And as you can see, back out, zoom out.
More.
It's a very well precise, thought out matrix with a lot of detail. Maybe it's a little over engineered, but I like that. I like, well, this is exactly what's going to happen to you after a first offense and a second offense and a third offense, and this much money and fines and this many service hours and blah, 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 blah. So that, I like this one. But then in 2016, we went to the current one. Go back up there, Art. And this one, is a little more aggressive. Like you have a first offense, and then if you repeat an offense in class 1 or class 2 within a 5-year period, you're already cascading down into the next class of discipline. I think I think 5 years also is is probably a little bit too long to have your discipline clock reset, so to speak. But this matrix does introduce the concept of a finite temporal life to your bad behavior. So after dealing with a lot of Fairwind members who get into trouble, I think I said last time there were 16 at the end of last season. I tried to combine the best features of both of these matrices, a temporal aspect, but then also, you know, a fine. I brought back fines in a very simplistic way, not as complicated as the first matrix, but in a more simplistic way. And I have modified the finite time intervals where you have to be on good behavior to smaller intervals of time, like you only have to remember to put the winch covers back on for a year under class 1. Under class 2, you have to remember to contribute to the boat kitty without a repeat incidence for 2 years. Class 3, you have to remember to file a float plan. Don't fail to do that twice within 3 years before you're elevated, and so on. So the higher you get up and the lower you go in the cascade, the better you have to be, the better behaved you have to be before you're elevated to the next class. So, for example, I didn't actually have an example initially when I proposed this, but a couple of the board members thought it would be very helpful. So, and I think it is. So I have an example at the end of this on page 4, where under the, let's say if you consider a Fairwind member with the current, with his or her schedule master personal record listed up top, like there's a class 3 for striking a buoy, there's a class 1 for not filling out a log sheet or not filling it out legibly, and there's a class 2 for shortchanging or not contributing to the boat kitty. So these are the things in the record already on those particular dates, about a year apart for each one. And then here along in October 2020, here's this same member, and you know, they undock and hit a couple of boats downwind and don't report it and go off on a cruise, but they didn't file a float plan, or they filed it in the middle of the cruise. And then when they came back, they didn't empty the holding tanks, all of that. So the failure to file a float plan right now is a class 3. We're looking at maybe reducing this to class 2, but for right now, it's still class 3. That goes into the record, and the class 2 goes into the record. But under the current matrix, that class 3, because it's still the float plan failure to file, because it's still is within the 5-year interval of time since the last class 3. Go back, Art. Keep going. Keep going to the example. It elevates to a class 4 in the third group of discipline, and that failure to empty a holding tank is a class 2, but it also combines with the class 2 for failing to contribute to a boat kitty into a class 3, because that's less than 5 years ago. And then that class 3 also interacts with the striking the red 10 PV buoy, class 3, and it goes to class 4. So suddenly this member who had some things on his or her record and then had a bad day, like a really bad day, I guess, suddenly is now looking at termination. And, you know, like some people think, some members think, yeah, well, they should. So that's okay. But I thought maybe, you know, we're not professional sailors, or most of us aren't anyway. So under the proposed matrix, the result would be at the bottom. It would be the class 3, 1, 2 in black from before are still there. but these new infractions stay at class 3 and class 2. The class 3 just files as a class 3 because it was not, now it was longer than 3 years ago. Before that had to be 5 years out before your discipline clock was reset. But now, because it's only 3 years, you just get it filed with no further punishment. But the class 2, because this class 2 of not emptying the holding tank was within 2 years of the previous class 2, then there is a fine also imposed. So the fines that get imposed are only imposed for those members who do repeat offenses within a comparatively finite short level of time since their last offense. I know this is kind of a lot to take in, and I hope you've reviewed this before now. We had to send this out 10+ days ago for your review. So you can go back to the color one now, Art, I think. So that's how this color matrix behaves. You get, for each class, you get one event where pretty much nothing happens to you other than it's just recorded. If your second event in either class 1, class 2, class 3, or class 4 is within, if it's longer than the discipline clock reset time, then it's just filed in your report, in your schedule master record. But if it happens, if your new offense or incident or infraction happens within, before the expiration of your discipline clock, then you also get a possible skipper restriction, not suspension, but a restriction from skippering a boat. You can still crew on other boats. You can still attend meetings. You can still go to the barbecue if we ever have one again in Channel Islands. So you're not suspended, you're just restricted. And then there also may be a fine imposed. And these fines and these restrictions run, there's a wide range of what the assessment could be. So I think I think for people that think that there should be, discipline enforced, you would probably not like this proposal. But I think for most members, it's in your interest to adopt it and to vote for it once I open this to discussion. I think that's everything I have to say to introduce it. So I'm going to open it.
Let's hope so.
I'm going to open this to discussion for someone who I've spoken in favor of it. So is there anyone who would like to speak against it?
No.
No.
Pass it.
Pass it. Okay.
I have a question, Lennox. I have a question, Lennox.
Yeah.
There's fines and there's a possible termination, but in the current matrix also talks about suspension of sailing privileges for a period of time. Is that also somewhere that's not written down, that's incorporated, or do we just do that on a harbor committee basis whenever we discuss it?
The current black and white matrix has a span of days that we can choose from.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what your question is?
Well, no, in the new one, it doesn't suspend. It just says termination or possible fines and warnings. It doesn't say anything about restricting skippers from using the boat for a period of time.
Right. Well, unlike the 2015 matrix, the very detailed one, yes, it is not that delineated in terms of what can happen to you. It's more kind of open-ended, like the current matrix, that the port committee or the harbor committee can discuss and debate what the appropriate restriction in time would be, if any. But there are minimums and maximums imposed, like the current matrix.
And just FYI for the general membership, As a,
What?
as a fleet captain, I do have the ability to suspend sailing and skipper privileges if I think you're unsafe.
Yeah,
So just FYI.
involving retraining.
If I think they're unsafe, or just if they're incompetent,
Great.
I think. Sorry, Susan, what'd you say? You're up.
In the Marina Del Rey situation, we've had numerous ways to report infractions. And sometimes we, as boat chiefs and as rear commodores, which I've been both, tend to give a lot of leeway. And once in a while, we just get over the top with the over and over failures of some of our members. And how do we keep track of it unless we keep track of it?
Well, that's a good point, Susan. We do keep track of it now better than we used to do a couple of years ago. Both Art and I've seen Bruce also, have all entered infraction.
How does it get reported?
It could get reported through a boat chief, or it could be a grievance from another member, and the accused member has he or she is interviewed by the safety chair, and they have an opportunity to come to the harbor committee meeting to present further commentary. But you raise a good point, though. When in these cases under the current matrix, where in one day there's a class 1 and two class 2s and a class 3, we we don't want to like propel this, maybe some of us do, but we don't want to propel these members toward termination. So we end up picking maybe one class 1 and one class 2 and a class 3, and we waive the other. We waive all the other infractions. So this leads to, well, at best, it leads to non-uniform discipline among members. And in some cases, it leads to, just skipping discipline entirely so that a member isn't terminated in the next month or so.
Lennox?
Yes.
I think Susan's question is, how does this get reported? And the answer to that is, I get reports all the time from our general membership because none of the board members are there all the time. So I get reports, and so does, Stephen. Oh, what's his name? Just crashed into a bunch of other boats. Bruce called me and said, yeah, I was watching this guy and he crashed into this other boat. And that's how we find out about it. We get help from our general membership for incompetent behavior from other members. That's how we get the information.
Yeah, was that your question, Susan?
Yes.
Yes, we're down there all the time at Tuesday Crew.
Yeah.
Maintaining the boats in Marina Del Rey. They don't have that in Channel Islands, but the
We don't
group
seem to have any problems in Channel Islands, as far as I can tell.
Really?
No. That's why this isn't
Wow,
going
that's a
to
good thing
affect
to hear. Well, in Marina Del Rey, we got problems.
Yeah.
the vast majority of our membership are not going to be affected by this at all. So that's why I'm kind of more in favor of this.
So we're looking for the standout fuck ups.
Yeah, it is. It's that, and it's I don't know if kinder is the right word, but it's less aggressive than the current matrix.
Lennox?
Yes.
To be honest with you, I actually like the original matrix that you liked from the beginning.
Yeah, I do too.
And the reason that I do like that is, okay, we're human, people do screw up. And I like the idea of people putting in service hours or some nominal fine saying, okay, I've made my retribution back to the club. You know, like I didn't clean out the holding tank, so I'm gonna have to spend 4 hours, flushing the holding tank out on some boat.
Yeah.
then that
You know-
kind of helps their jog their
gonna run
memory
that?
the next
Yeah,
time they
you know,
go to take.
if you're a boat chief like Susan Bonner, she'll say, "Get your ass down here and clean up that holding tank." So
Right.
I like the boat chiefs like that, like her, that do that. But and Bruce Gale likes the idea of service hours. I like the idea of service hours, but you know, and just general more equitable volunteering in general. But it is just, you know, we're volunteers and we have finite amount of time, and tracking this service hour thing and administrating it would just be another
Yeah.
layer that
Ouch.
is I think would be unworkable personally. So that's
Me
why I
too.
didn't bring back that service hours column from the original the 2015 matrix, which I agree, I do like that kind of detail, but a lot of people don't like, you know, that kind of detail. You know, they like something
Lennox,
more
Len-
open-ended. Yep.
Lennox, remember back in the old days, the Tuesday crew the club gave out tickets. They gave out like script tickets for people who put in hours. And that's how they got their ability to sail. They used
Well, I
to
think that was
change the script.
before my time. I don't remember
Oh,
that.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I
Because
remember.
I only go back to 2010, Susan.
I
No,
go back to
Lennox,
2004.
we used to do that.
And I talked to the guys who used to do it, including Mark Salkin.
Yeah, we
I've
did.
been here. I've been here since let me see, 2004 and before.
Okay. Well, are you, I don't recommend that you do this, but I shouldn't be saying that. So are you recommending, are you making a motion to amend this to include service hours?
No.
Okay, thank you.
John Lennox.
Anyone who
I
wants
have
to
a couple of
speak
comments.
against this or in favor of it?
Yes, I would like to say something, Lennox.
Who is that, Mark?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead,
Oh,
Mark.
Chief,
Only that it seems to take a long time to get somebody down to, what did you call it, Cascade 4? To where they're getting into a monetary fine.
Yeah, you know, it would be faster than you might imagine it is.
All
for
right,
some
well,
people.
the point being is that whatever it takes you to get down to a category, Cascade 4, a $200 fine is not a deterrent. I know there are some members that are fund challenged.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think $200 is
There
just
are members there will be members who bitch about just the fact that there are fines on this
absolutely.
at all.
Said my piece.
Absolutely.
So
They
that's
don't
why
like paying
it's,
the dues.
it's very that's why it's very it's only for the chronic re-offenders, if you will. And it's also a very wide range of what the Harbor Committee can assess. They're not forced in any category, actually, to make a fine.
So Lennox, the reason we don't have trainers is because there's so much bureaucracy happening. And you're about to lose a lot of boat chiefs in Marina Del Rey
Because
of bureaucracy. I go down there and clean the toilet on Osprey. Any of you guys want to join me? Raise your hands.
Well, Susan, the problem is,
No,
is
I
that,
know the problem. Don't tell me the problem.
no, I'm just mentioning that because of COVID, we haven't had our open houses, and we always had the fortune of having people who wanted to join the club willing to do that on the second Saturday of each month.
Have you seen that happen?
Susan, you can certainly, can you determine who these people are?
I have posted in the past and written them up, but I have also given them the courtesy of a call and say, get your shit together.
Yeah, and if they don't respond, you can certainly tell the Harbor Committee.
Okay.
I mean, that's always been the case.
That's what I've always done.
Yep.
And now you're stuck with trying to deal with 20.
So based upon both the existing and the new matrix, the only thing that we can do is give them a warning. So if somebody brings Mariah back and they don't clean the boat up, and I'm not going to clean it because that's, I'm boat cheap, but I'm not going to go down and clean somebody else's mess up.
Well, I have.
Yeah,
I know
well,
you.
that's true in both matrices. The first offense is pretty much,
So how do we make that individual go back and clean it? Now,
so are you proposing to amend the color matrix to introduce skipping restrictions up even into the first event?
well, this is beyond the scope of discussion right now.
No, it would be what
No,
it would
I-
be like.
right.
It would be like you may be proposing an amendment to have every level of class 1 a 0 to 14-day restriction. Is that your proposed amendment?
I don't know, like I'm not proposing any of that right now.
Okay.
I'm just illustrating a problem that we need to discuss before, we can approve the matrix as you have, but this is another issue if a boat doesn't come back that's clean enough, and and all of the guys on my boat who sail the cruise come down, and if I say there's anything wrong, they come back down the next day and they clean it up.
They shouldn't have to. They should realize that they should have cleaned it before they left, though, don't you think?
But
Like, what is the problem there?
Somebody, everybody's, using, our boats, so far, except for Susan's boat, comes down and cleans properly. Now, if somebody who doesn't, we have actually, based upon our standing rules, no real strong recourse.
Exactly.
We have nothing. So, other than a harbor committee meeting and just say, based upon our meeting, we're going to suspend you for 2 weeks or a month or fine you $50 or $100.
Art,
And
I
so,
have been down. I
able
have been
to-
down on Osprey. I have been down on Osprey. And read the log. And the log says, somebody left, this and that. This is broken, this is that. That's what we do as boat chief. I don't call somebody to do it. I do it.
Okay.
I don't know how you operate as a boat chief.
So, Susan, it sounds like you're kind of arguing to keep the current matrix, where
I would even stiffen it.
Stiffen it. Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
so I would just like to say that anything that happens when there is a complaint made, they have to come to our third Thursday of the week,
The month.
whether it's a Zoom meeting or wherever it is, to speak on their behalves for the infraction. But based on everything that we've been discussing, I would like to make a motion to approve the color matrix as it stands.
Any more discussion on this?
Nope.
Okay. So
You mean on the amendment, or?
There is no amendment, just
There is no amendment, yeah.
yeah.
It dawned on me that the fleet captain, using his own authority, can impose a suspension on a member if he feels the member is not
Restriction.
a good sailor.
Yeah.
It is unsafe. That's what the wording is.
And the rear commodore has another place in that. He takes care of the boats when somebody breaks the boat.
Can I second Bruce's motion?
Okay.
So there's 2 seconds. Mark Levine and who else? We both second it. I think that was Steve.
Do you guys want to read out the motion?
The motion is to strike out from Standing Rules Section 8, the current discipline progression matrix, which is in that section, to the one that is presented here tonight in color, for the reasons I've explained in the rationale. So you could say there's a main motion to amend the discipline matrix in Section 8 with a new version. I think you could just say that, Abigail.
Thank you. And who was I'm sorry, I didn't catch the seconds and.
Mark Levine.
Thank you.
And Richard Windebank.
And Abby, can you read it back to us? Make sure that we've got the wording correct.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. I have, the motion is to strike from Standing Rules Section 8, the current discipline matrix to the presented, sorry, to the presented one. I'll come up with better words. Presented one. Okay, the motion is to strike from Standing Rules Section 8, discipline matrix to the current discipline matrix presented at the meeting.
Very good.
Okay. Shall I set the vote up?
Set the vote up.
Okay. Vote has been launched.
I think this is a majority vote to pass. I think it required a 2/3 vote if there was no previous notification, but I believe this is true. Alan McGovern will tell us. But since there was a 10-day notification, I think this only needs a majority vote. Is that right, Alan?
That's correct.
Thank you, Alan.
And once again, I'm not voting, nor John Rock, because we're hosts.
Okay, so voting yes means that you vote to replace the current black and white matrix with the color one.
So Lennox, the colored one's the more less aggressive one that you were talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Hey.
It's in your email. It should be in your, you should have.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
I'm clear on it. I just want to clarify.
We're doing another 10 seconds, so lock your votes in.
Art, I did not receive a.
It's on the screen.
Vote. No, it's not on my screen.
Well, sorry.
It was on my screen for 2 seconds and then went away.
Well, it might be buried under there, but I've got.
Yeah, look behind your
Zoom.
Your Zoom.
Because I already got 51 out of 60 people voted. 85% have already voted.
Okay. Well, that's it.
Okay. So give Abby some sort of number.
So I'm sharing the numbers. Please read.
Okay. Those aren't actual numbers, though. Those are percentages, right?
Yeah.
Number and there's a percentage.
So I see, we just see 77% said yes, 8% no, and 15 abstained.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
So
right.
it's 40 yes, 4 no, and 8 abstain.
What is it, Bruce? How many yes?
40 yes,
40
Yeah.
yeses.
4 no,
Yeah.
8 abstention.
Okay. Thank you. So the motion passes. Thank you, everyone. I think the next item is G and F. I think we've already pretty much covered this. What the current pandemic guidelines are. And my initial comment, my additional comments as Commodore, and in my comments and Scott's comments as port captain. So I think we can skip G and H. So that will take us to new business, which is item I. And is there new business out there, John Gable Goble?
Hello?
Hello, John.
Give me 1 minute. I stepped away from the computer.
Okay.
That's no excuse. Come on.
Yes, this meeting's been too exciting.
Grant says hi, by the way.
Hi, Grant. And I'm going to say something very politically incorrect to start. That's not applying to what I'm on for. Garth, I heard from Garth the other day, and he is now living in Oregon.
Yeah.
He's
He wrote
from Oregon.
me 2 very lengthy emails that are very interesting that I have not yet had time to respond to, but I will respond to him.
And Garth responded to the obituary, which myself, my wife Mariana, Ron Sasiela, and several of Holly's non-sailing friends did. So a very dear friend of mine, Holly Christensen, died back in January. My wife and I took it upon ourselves to volunteer to to help with his obituary, and a number of friends, including Ron, who's here at this meeting, jumped in to help. Turned out with a very nice obituary. Friends had lots of good things to say about Holly. And since then, I've been nominated to head up Holly's memorial. And it is tentatively set for Saturday, June 12th. We decided to put it off, and ideally, many people will be vaccinated by then. We decided on June 12th because that is a Fairwind second Saturday. I've already had a couple of friends volunteer. Ron Sasiela, Bettina, our new member, who's a friend of Holly's. And so thoughts are that the typical 3 miles out scattering of ashes, of which I'm in possession of some of his remains now. So that part is handled. I need to, so it's very early stages of planning. I'm going to talk to some other members who have organized a memorial. And one thing that comes to mind for after returning on the boats, Mariana and I are members of South Coast Corinthian Yacht Club. The new club, we should be in our new clubhouse, which is on G Basin on Valley Way, which is on the way to Marina Del Rey Hotel. We should be in there sometime this month. I'm going to talk to the board and see if we can do some sort of get together. The new clubhouse has lots of outdoor area, and it would be, I think it would be perfect for a get together real close to Fairwind.
Yeah.
So that's my input. Looking for, so I see that Richard's here. I plan on talking to you, getting some input, and just want to do
So John, you're making a motion to have a memorial for Hallie Christiansen, following in the tradition as of late for Roy Niebuhr and other members, which I think is a fine Fairwind tradition. And you're asking the members to support this and arrange it on tentatively on a second Saturday, but not necessarily, but probably so, because the boats are already reserved out and it wouldn't consume another weekend of reservations. So your motion is to have a memorial for Hallie Christiansen that you would arrange and consult with other members as you see fit. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
Is there a second to that, anyone?
I'll second it.
Great. Probably everyone in the club has seconded this. Should we pass this by unanimous vote?
Done.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Anyone opposed? Okay, John, thank you for heading that up. I did write a small obituary for Hallie back a month or so ago.
It was very heartfelt.
I'm glad that you and Ron Sasiela have augmented that and just taken it to a whole other level and combined it with an actual memorial service. So you'll need boats and you'll need skippers for those boats, and you'll need to know who wants to go on those boats, and hopefully we'll be in a little bit more relaxed state regarding the pandemic in what is it, 2 months time, 2.5 months time?
Yeah, and there will be other boats because Holly was a racer, and Marianne and I'm sure will be on Phantom, Joe Cowan and other friends whose private boats he crewed on.
Right. Okay, very good. Very glad to see this. Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other new business? Is Yosh Han here? Yosh? Yosh, as you may remember, organized along with Marina Del Rey Fleet Surgeon, Dr. Kenneth Murray, a COVID reporting service where one could report in detail if they found out, if they were at Fairwind and then subsequently found out tested positive for COVID, they can call Yosh and report when they were at Fairwind, Marina Del Rey, or Channel Islands, either one. They can identify themselves. They don't have to identify themselves. I haven't really heard anything more than this. So I was hoping maybe Yosh might be here to update us.
She's sailing to Hawaii on another trip for 3 weeks.
Sailing to Hawaii?
Yeah, she's sailing to Hawaii. She has finished helping to deliver a boat from Grenada to South Carolina about a week ago. And so she's again to Hawaii.
So I guess she's not in attendance here then. No. So good for her. Okay, so is there any other new business? Okay, very good. So that brings us up to about an hour and 50 minutes. And do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion to adjourn.
Very good. Thank you. Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you everyone for coming to our, how many Zooms is this, Art? 3, 4?
We started last year about this time, so about 3.
Well, you started way before I did on your trainers and instructors, and I sort of came in late to this when I thought, oh, we're not going to be back on the water by a year ago. So anyway, so this is going well, I think, and we'll probably continue it even after the pandemic. So I declare this membership meeting for the second fiscal quarter of the 2020-2021 season adjourned.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
We had 6 people, and if anybody wants to hear this again, I can send you
oh God, you think anyone would?
Watch it again.
Oh my God. maybe the recording secretary. Okay, I'm going to say good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.